Rolls-Royce makes the most luxurious cars in the world, and the richest people in the world dream of owning a Rolls-Royce. But surprisingly, this luxurious Rolls-Royce was started by a boy whose entire childhood was spent doing child labor in poverty. The story begins in 1863. Henry Royce is born in a small village in England. When Royce was only 4 years old, his father's business was ruined, and the entire family was on the streets. But this was just the beginning of problems. After this, at the age of 9, Royce lost his father forever, because of which his mother had to work as a maid, and Royce started delivering newspapers. Till now, Royce's future was filled with darkness. But at the age of 14, there was a turning point in his life. One of his aunts saw potential in Henry. She went to the Great Northern Railway Company, and there she joined Royce as an apprentice by paying £20 per annum. In the next 3 years, Royce worked day and night. After reading dozens of books and working practically in the factory, he learned carpentry, maths, and most importantly, electronics. By the age of 17, he had become a fully capable mechanic. By the age of 21, he was working as an engineer in a company called Maxim Western. But due to financial difficulties, this company was about to close. Royce had the option to take up a job in many other companies, but he decided to open his own electrical engineering company. He used his £20 savings and started a small office space in Manchester, F.H. Royce and Company. He also joined his friend Ernest Claremont as a partner. Initially, Royce did whatever he could to survive, like repairing sewing machines, electrical fittings, etc. But then Royce saw that the demand for electrical fittings and lighting was increasing, so he started manufacturing arc lamps, bulb holders, and electronic doorbells. And this work changed the company's fate. By 1900, the company's sales had crossed £20,000. At the age of 38, Royce had a family, and they were planning to build a huge factory. Everything was going well when a twist comes in the story. In 1901, German and American companies entered the British electronics market. Competition increased and the prices of electronic equipment fell. Even after a lot of effort, Royce's business started crashing. And as the hard-earned business started failing, Royce's physical and mental health started deteriorating. When Royce consulted a doctor, he got a simple advice. Royce needed fresh air to recover. He was also advised to buy a car so that he could travel without strain. Royce took a vacation to recover, and then he bought a French-made car called Decoville. This car made a lot of noise, brakes were ineffective, and there were problems like overheating. For a perfectionist like Henry, this car was below standard, so he decided to make minor modifications to this car. But unknowingly, he completely redesigned the car. This redesigned car was superior to the original Decoville car, and this gave Royce the confidence to build his own car and even do the business of cars. He assembled a small team and started designing his new car. When all the parts were drawn, he sent it to the workshop for casting. Eventually, Royce's 10 horsepower and 2-cylinder car started taking shape. Almost every aspect like quietness, lightness, durability, and reliability, this car was better than all the existing cars. On 1st April 1904, it was first tested on the road, and in its first test, it covered a distance of 50 kilometers without any problem. Royce made 2 more cars of the same model and tested them and started improving them. Now they had made world-class cars, but they were not capable of delivering these cars to the world alone. And here comes the entry of the second hero of the story, Charles Rolls. Royce was presenting his cars in an exhibition, and in the meantime, Charles Rolls spotted these cars. Charles Rolls was a passionate motorist, and he was doing a successful business of superior quality cars. Rolls was already looking for a luxury British car maker. That's why he met Royce and saw the cars closely. He was so impressed with Royce that later he told his business partner that he has found the world's greatest engineer. In the next 3 months, to sell these cars, Charles Rolls and Henry Royce agreed to start a joint venture, and the name of the car that was going to be sold from this joint venture was Rolls-Royce. Before moving ahead, I have a question for you. Do you also want to build a successful startup and want financial freedom for yourself? If yes, then I highly recommend that you listen to the Lean Startup audiobook on Audible. This audiobook will guide you step by step and will teach you how to test your business idea without wasting time and money, make valuable products, and grow your business. This audiobook can really change your life. I myself use Audible to listen to audiobooks of different genres and even use it a lot for video research. Also, you can easily sign up in Audible using UPI. You don't need a credit or debit card, so sign up on Audible using the link in the description or pinned comment and get a 2-month free trial. Now let's come back to the story. In March 1906, Rolls-Royce Limited was officially established, and first of all, 4 Rolls-Royces, 10, 15, 20 and 30 horsepower models were decided to be supplied. Rolls-Royce believed that the best way to market any car is to participate in racing tournaments with that car. That's why Rolls-Royce participated in prestigious tournaments like Isle of Man and Tourist Trophy and used Rolls-Royce cars to win those races. Along with that, they made many new speed records with these cars. With all this, Rolls-Royce was already established like a great car company, but their most successful car was yet to come.
Just like a ghost, and that's why it was named Silver Ghost. To market the car, Rolls-Royce planned an endurance test of 24,000 kilometers, in which Silver Ghost was driven continuously for 2.5 months, day and night, except Sundays, and the distance covered was 24,000 kilometers. Silver Ghost passed this test without any issue. Apart from this, Rolls-Royce organized many demonstrations, in which they made Silver Ghost pass the whisper test. In this test, they balanced a coin on the bonnet of the car and drove it without dropping it, which proved that this car is extremely smooth. With these strategies, Silver Ghost became popular all around, like the best car in the world, and it became the first choice of the kings, queens, and industry leaders of that time. Rolls-Royce's partnership decision proved to be a masterstroke. They were getting success from all sides. That's when a terrible accident happened. Along with cars, Charles Rolls was also very passionate about aviation. On 12th July 1910, he was flying a plane named Wright Flyer. During the flight, the tail section of the aircraft broke and the plane crashed from a height of 100 feet. In this accident, 32-year-old Charles Rolls lost his life. Unfortunately, he became the first person in Britain to lose his life in an aeroplane accident. This accident had a deep impact on Rolls-Royce. They were trying to recover from this loss, but in 1911 they got another shock. Their health started deteriorating rapidly, and doctors told them that they had a ball cancer. They underwent a major surgery, but even after that, doctors said that they would only be able to live for 3 months. Even in this condition, Rolls-Royce kept improving the design and engineering of Silver Ghost. And then a miracle happened. 3 months passed and Rolls-Royce achieved a 100% recovery. After coming back, Rolls-Royce made major improvements to Silver Ghost. Ground clearance was increased, suspension was improved, and chassis was also made stronger. Meanwhile, Rolls-Royce saw that a trend of putting personalized mascots on the bonnet of cars was going on. But the company was worried that people were putting inappropriate mascots, which could negatively impact Rolls-Royce's image. That's why they designed their own mascot. Their mascot uses a British actress and model named Eleanor Thornton. This sculpture shows a woman leaning forward, her hands are stretched backwards, and there is strong wind blowing on them. This mascot symbolizes a sense of grace, freedom, and speed. Its name is Spirit of Ecstasy. Ecstasy means overwhelming happiness. Because of all these improvements, Rolls-Royce's sales and profits were growing exponentially. By 1913, their profit was more than £90,000, and there were plans to expand the branches internationally. But then something happened that almost destroyed Rolls-Royce: World War I. World War I started in 1914, but Rolls-Royce was not ready for it. The economy crashed due to the war, which had the biggest impact on luxury car companies like Rolls-Royce. Sales crashed and the company had to fire its employees. Everyone thought that Rolls-Royce would not be able to survive the war, but Rolls-Royce had some other plans. Rolls-Royce met with the military authorities, after which they realized that they needed reliable and high-performance cars in the war. That's why Rolls-Royce modified the Silver Ghost and turned it into an armored car. 8mm thick armor was installed in the car's body. A revolving turret was also installed in which a machine gun was fitted. This car was used to conduct operations in the harsh desert regions of the Middle East. Plus, it was also used for spying missions. Also, because the Silver Ghost was very smooth to drive, it was the best vehicle to carry a wounded soldier. That's why many Silver Ghosts were modified like war ambulances. Stretchers, medical equipment, and sufficient space for nurses were made. Electric lightings were fitted for nighttime missions. These ambulances saved thousands of lives. Finally, because of its luxury features, Rolls-Royce cars were used by high-ranking officers, diplomatic missions, and king messengers during the war. While working closely with the military, Rolls-Royce realized that the British Air Force was heavily dependent on French companies for its aeroplane engines. The government desperately wanted a British company to supply its engines. Seeing this opportunity, Rolls-Royce took an entry in aero-engine manufacturing. Rolls-Royce learned aero-engine design and launched its first engine in 1915, the Eagle. This engine was more reliable, light, and fuel-efficient than competition. That's why the British Air Force ordered 500 Eagle engines by the end of the year. But Rolls-Royce didn't stop here. In the end of 1915, Rolls-Royce made a Hawk engine for light aircraft. In 1916, Rolls-Royce made a smaller version of the Eagle, the Falcon engine. And in 1918, Rolls-Royce made a Condor engine for large and long-range aircraft. Because of these engines, Britain got a major advantage in aerial combat, spying missions, anti-submarine operations, and bombing missions, and this became an important reason for Rolls-Royce's victory. Rolls-Royce's entry in aero-engine manufacturing proved to be a brilliant step, and even today, Rolls-Royce engines are used in thousands of commercial and military aircraft. In 1918, World War I ended, and for the next 15 years, Rolls-Royce focused on both cars and aero engines. They launched a smaller and cheaper car called the 20. Unfortunately, the sales of the 20 were not very impressive. By 1925, competition had increased due to brands like Bentley, Daimler, and Cadillac in the luxury car market, and Rolls-Royce needed a bold car to maintain its position. That's why they replaced the Silver Ghost and launched the new Phantom with better performance and four-wheel brakes. The Phantom was quite successful, and it made Rolls-Royce the king of the luxury car market again. In the future, the Phantom II was launched as well, which was equally well received. In 1931, Rolls-Royce acquired Bentley, which was about to go bankrupt, and after that, Rolls-Royce designed another iconic car, Bentley 3.5-liter, which was a successful blend of Rolls-Royce and Bentley, these two great brands. But unfortunately, Rolls-Royce could never see this car with its own eyes. On April 22, 1933, 70-year-old Sir Henry Royce took his last breaths. A few months before the production of the car. Since the death of Sir Henry Royce, Rolls-Royce has seen many ups and downs. On one hand, iconic cars like Phantom III, Silver Shadow, and Ghost were launched. On the other hand, they faced financial difficulties in the 1960s, which caused their aviation and automobile business to be separated.